Sherlock. It'll be grand.
Hello, everybody. Fáilte go dtí another slightly shorter episode of Sure It'll Be Grand, our lovely, lovely podcast where two of us Irish Aegists talk about movies and stuff. My name is Owen, and with me as always is Dan.
Yeah.
He is here. He's just awake, but he's here, ready to rock. And
When is this airing again?
oh, immediately.
Immediately. Great. Okay, yes. That's grand. Sorry.
Yeah,
Are we doing this
immediately.
live, are we? Ah,
This
shit.
is live. We are live to the world right now. Yeah, no, we're doing a quick review. Finally, in a year of like non-stop delays and horribleness, an actual blockbuster was released. Sort of. I saw it in the cinema. I was lucky enough to get to see it in the cinema.
Don't think it'll be busting many blocks, I'm afraid.
No, I don't think so. But we're talking about Wonder Woman 1984, the sequel to 2017's breakout DC superhero movie, at least, I
mean,
guess.
It was very impressive, being DC's, third, fourth movie, and being the first good one.
I will not stand for Man of Steel's slander on this podcast, all right? Man of Steel is a fucking good
the first
movie.
one that had mass appeal and was good.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. I wasn't as enamored with it as most people. The final act, like, as good as the rest of it was, the final act was bad enough that it kind of deflated my opinion of the whole thing. But we're not here to talk about that one.
Without going too much into the first movie, I always said the first movie was, and I know there's going to be DC fans who are going to hate me for this, but it was like an average Marvel movie. Which made it very good for a DC movie.
Yeah, it's pretty middle of the road. Like it was surprising in the fact that it was a 80% competently made movie from DC. It wasn't like a shit show from start to finish. So that was pleasant. But this time, Wonder Woman 1984, which reunites director Patty Jenkins with Gal Gadot as Diana Prince, as she attempts to...
Great programming software. No one will get that except like two people who ever listen to this. Never mind.
Okay, well, this one, Diana Prince she's living a really lovely life. She's fine. It's 1984 for no apparent reason other than I think an attempt to cash in on the like massive 80s nostalgia that was everywhere, but this kind of came out it was an attempt to conquer an already oversaturated market of nostalgia, and it came too late for me to make it fun. Like I get, it could have come out in, if it had come out maybe when it was supposed to originally, like back in July or whatever, maybe
like a summer movie. It does feel like a summer movie
for most of it, and then
then
it's Christmas at one point.
Yeah,
for some reason
it doesn't really,
I don't know. Was
that
that I don't know. Was that a
Christmas.
reshoot?
Well, anyway, look. Yeah. Look. Shall we go through some of the cast? And big one is Chris Pine's back.
Chris Pine is back, and I will say just right off just right off the top before we start, we're going to do our best not to spoil anything major in the movie, but there might be some small. It's hard to talk about a movie and review it without mentioning something specifically. So just if you care about that stupid shit, maybe you want to go watch Wonder Woman before you listen to somebody talk about it.
We'll probably hint at how plots get going and then try to be very ambiguous with how they end. I think that's probably how we're gonna.
That's how we're gonna attempt to approach it. But please, feel free to shout at us if you consider Chris Pine is in the movie to be a spoiler. I don't know.
Just say something to us. Our comment section.
Please, we need to eat.
Like Kazi has been trying to be extra racist recently and everything.
I've been really trying. I'm trying to get something going, and I might try it again here today. But no, we'll see. I don't know. But Wonder Woman 1984, of course, stars Gal Gadot again as Diana Prince. Chris Pine is back as Steve Trevor.
Yeah.
Kind of. He sort of in a way. Chris Pine is back. He's in the movie, and
Chris Pine back, and the character Steve Trevor is back. However, Okay, I mean,
Okay,
this
right.
is this
We'll
is
start.
when
I'll
it
just
comes to
start.
hurdle
We'll give
rapping.
you a very quick run of the mill plot
Yeah.
summary
So
kind of
I'll
thing.
start a little bit. Okay. So Wonder Woman, a very strong, empowered woman who is all about doing the right thing by herself and a bit of a lone wolf, has been pining over some fella for 7 decades.
Yep. Yeah, it's been 70 years, and
Yeah. Uh,
she has
and some fellas
progressed.
you know for a couple of months, maybe tops, really?
Yeah,
You didn't know him that long.
presumably. No, not long at all. You know, I mean,
You
fine,
know, I mean, it
whatever. It
was
was a big,
war, so maybe
it was a
you could get a
great,
bit
you know,
closer.
they were in love. It was a big romance, and then he
Yeah.
sacrificed himself to save the world or whatever. But it's been 70 years, Diana. 70.
Yeah. And you're
Since,
kind of immortal already. Like, you do it, did you not come in that relationship a few
look, I
times at
mean,
this stage?
he was the first man she ever met, sort of. I guess,
Yes.
wasn't he? I don't know. He was her
I mean,
first.
look, I'm a straight guy, but like if I was a gal on an island and the first man I ever met was Chris Pine, I'd probably get attached as well.
He's a
You
handsome
would,
guy.
wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
handsome
he's
man.
a handsome
You
fella.
know, if he was, yeah, I mean, I guess everybody else had a lot to live up to after Chris Pine.
Yeah. Oh, is he smaller? Uh,
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't know. So the
less
plot
about Chris Pine's
essentially,
penis
right?
length. Let's
Diana
move on.
Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman, sort of lives in
Yeah.
Washington D.C. now, and she works for
She
the
does.
Smithsonian as
Yeah.
a
In the weirdest museum back room ever. It looks like a weird fantasy idea of what a museum working area would look like.
yeah. It's I don't know. It the whole thing in that sense to me is odd in just that like they don't ever really they never really say that like, oh yeah, Diana like went to college and got herself a doctorate and like got this job or anything. It's kind of just like, well, Diana Prince, that's what she does in the comics, I guess. So she does that now.
Do you think she just went? Do you think she just went to like a museum background where there's a bunch of professors just that pointing at things and saying, "Oh, this is that, this is this, oh, this is what that language says," and they went, well, "Look, you don't have a professor, but like you just
Yeah,
like did 100 years of study for us, so
yeah,
yeah, go on."
yeah. You're pretty hot, and you know your Roman Greek mythology pretty well. I think almost like you lived it.
And yeah, oh, gemnology. That's the first one I heard. I've never heard gemnology before. I'm sure it exists, but I've never heard of it.
No, I don't know. Yeah, it's odd. She works at the Smithsonian now, and she's like doing Wonder Woman stuff on it, kind of, I guess. But it's it's implied that she's like doing it in secret, and it's only they throw a line or two in every once in a while where Wonder Woman's like, "Don't tell anybody that I'm Wonder Woman or what you saw here or whatever." Just solely, I think, so they can like keep up the pretense that she was a secret, and Batman had to like work to find out who she was or whatever.
Yeah,
But the whole
there's
movie
one
then
thing I would say.
blows that away.
Just one thing for the museum thing, right? They show us being very competent. Like she knows her history, even beyond her culture and all that kind of stuff. It's very impressive. But then she reads something in Latin, and there's another woman there, played by Kirsten Wiig, Barbara Minerva, who looks at her and goes like, "Oh my God, you speak Latin!" And I feel like that's not the rarest things amongst archaeologists.
No, it's Latin is like probably the most accessible ancient language. Like it's Latin. People still
because
speak it.
It was still taught until like a few decades ago in most schools. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's.
oh my God,
I'm pretty sure my parents were taught a bit of Latin in school. Like
Yeah.
priests still speak it. They have to learn it. It's not. The
Yeah.
Catholic Church still exists and they use Latin daily. It's not like
Yeah.
I'd say, and even then, she's an archaeologist, so speaking an ancient language is not like, even if they'd been like, wow, it's in Egyptian. Oh my God, you speak Egyptian. You're working at the Smithsonian. How do you not think
Yeah.
somebody here is going to speak Latin or Egyptian or like ancient Mayan or something? It's the Smithsonian. Like, I know
Yeah.
you're only here a
And her-
day, Barbara, and you're a bit awkward, but like, come on.
Barbara, who clearly has, and maybe it's just me, the biggest crush on Diana Prince.
Ah, yeah. There's more going on there this time around than there is between Steve and Diana, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
But,
that's I don't know.
yeah.
Look, Kristen Wiig, like Barbara Minerva in this is just she's just the Batman Forever comic book trope. She's Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. She's Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy. She's a slightly awkward, oh my god, she wears glasses so she's ugly, and like she's clumsy, and then she gets superpowers and turns into a super confident villain for unknown reasons. And it's like, fine, whatever. That's a thing.
I guess that would be one of our small little spoilers. But I think anyone who watched the trailer and has
I mean, you know, like she's
knowledge of Wonder Woman or cinema in general would have gone, yeah, that's what's happening.
Well, she's Cheetah. Everybody knows she's Cheetah. Like it's gonna happen at some point. Like that she becomes Cheetah. She was in the trailers as a cat. But my question is she a Jellicle cat?
Actually, she looked better in the that's the whole thing. they tried to morph her a little bit into a human-like cat.
I don't know what
weird.
I don't know what a Jellicle cat means still. So
there's a whole song about it, man. Come on.
Anyway,
look, let's move on.
So she's in it. Pedro Pascal is Maxwell Lord, who is
which is of course the way.
This is the way.
He's
the villain.
Yeah,
sort of.
He kind of is. He's
know.
kind of he's the desperate man of the movie that turns things to shit.
Yeah, essentially. But that's, I think, one of the main gripes I had with this whole thing is that, like, if you're gonna, like, I get it, or like before anybody says anything, I understand that the sequel got made because the first one made $1 billion and it was really popular. So obviously, from that standpoint, you're gonna make a sequel, fine, whatever. But the movie itself should give you a reason as to why this character is back. Like, a sequel should have something in it that can say, okay, Wonder Woman's back, and this is because we need to tell this story. She still has things to learn, and she still has things to accomplish. But the movie doesn't give you that.
Still has magic spells to cast on jet fighters.
There's no, like, by about 40 minutes into this movie, there's still no real reason why they're back, why Diana's here, why it's 1984. They never really say, well, you know, why didn't Wonder Woman help out in World War II or the Vietnam War or the Korean War? Like, why?
Yeah.
What has she been doing for 70 years? Nothing.
I
apparently.
suppose I think the problem is the movie doesn't really focus on the Cold War too much. That's clearly something that was meant to be important, the thing that they were going to jump on, but it only kind of gets mentioned in the background near the end of the movie. Like,
yeah, see, and I feel like that was, I think they decided to set it. First of all, I get it, right. So they were like, well, we want it just to be about Wonder Woman, so we're going to set it in. It's still going to be in the past, so we have an excuse not to have like a Superman cameo or something, or so people can't say, well, where's the rest of the Justice League, like they do about every other movie ever. But and then they went,
well, surprised they didn't have like a young young Clark Kent or something looking up from a cornfield or something.
They just a hard cut to a cornfield in Kansas with something crash landing. Like, oh my god, Jonathan and Martha wished for a son.
Oh no! Imagine if they actually went full throttle forward and just had like Superboy, like from the original comics, like the really old comics where like Superman was like a hero as a kid as well.
Yeah,
He's just like flying around a cornfield, throwing pies at people or something that they did back then.
It's just Tom Welling wandering around Smallville for a second.
Yeah, somebody say.
Yeah. But let's talk about, that's the plot in a nutshell. Which, just to be on record, is to say, is not very good. Is the script is a mess, and that's most of the issues in this movie come from the fact that the script is just all over the place. It doesn't really know.
I mean, like you said, the plot does start, but for a long time, I mean, yeah, we do have an antagonist, of course we do, but we don't really know what his end goal is until like near to the end of the movie. We're okay, this is what he's gonna do.
Even then, it's still a bit confusing, to be honest.
Yeah,
and like his motivations and his, even from just a storytelling standpoint, as to like why Maxwell Lord, who in this movie is a TV sales con man kind of guy,
Yeah.
Why
He's
is
trying
he?
to like sell shares in an oil company or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so he wants to be an oil tycoon, but he's lost everybody's money, and now he's trying to con the world into
Because
giving
he's
him
bought
more money.
all the places that don't have oil.
Yeah, he
Because
bought a
everyone
lot
else has
of
bought
like
all the expensive oil
it
fields.
was all a risky delve into the market with other people's money that he lost, and now he wants
Yeah.
more money. But from there, it's just kind of like the MacGuffin of this movie. Like it's never really explained why Maxwell Lord is the only one who knows about it and who wants
Yeah,
it,
they never
and
explain that, do they?
how he found out about it, why he wants it, how he's attempting to get it, aside from he heard a story one time about this thing and nobody else did. Nobody at the
Yeah.
Smithsonian. The people like the learned folk of the Smithsonian think it's a fake.
That's the one thing I guess. Well, they would talk about the material that was used. Like, oh yeah, this is often used in fakes.
Yeah.
Ah, but not this time.
Not this.
Oh,
Also, it's used
okay.
in super real things from thousands of years ago, made by a god. Like, okay, fine, cool. Yeah,
So it's all the fake stuff made from like god material. Ugh, this is fake.
yeah, because it's made by gods. They think it's fake because it's
Yeah.
too much for our mortal minds. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And that's another one. Like, so the whole. Okay, so like there's a magic stone wish thing, and I'm gonna let you guess what the rest of that does. But one thing that it does is that it takes away the thing that you want the most and gives you the wish of whatever you make, right?
It's a monkey's
Which
paw.
is, you know, yeah, but like it's fine. But then when in the movie, Pedro Pascal, Maxwell Lord, is bestowed with these powers, and suddenly he can choose what is the most important thing of theirs he wants.
He can grant other people's wishes, but he can choose
Yeah.
what he takes from them in return.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Because he's the stone.
yeah, his wish wasn't, I wish for infinite wishes or something simple. I
Yeah.
wish to be super rich. I wish that all my investments turned out fine. He's like, I wish
And the
to
weird thing is he
become
can
you.
start seeing like not to get too much into it, but like he starts getting sick from the wishes for some reason.
Yeah, I don't
Like, he
know if
gets
that.
hurt.
I don't know if that was. All right, I
Stress.
think gloves are off. We seem to have just
Okay.
gone straight into spoilers now.
Okay, so leave if you're still
So,
want to be.
yeah, okay,
surprised.
fine,
It's,
we're
it's
doing
over, lads.
We're doing
We
spoilers.
tried.
Sorry,
okay?
this is the mark. Cut right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was a case of like the downside of the monkey paw element to his initial wish was that his body started failing, or if it was just that like people wishing on him made him weak, or like
Actually, that's a really good question, because if the stone takes the thing that they value the most for the wish, what did it take of him?
that's why I assume it was his health. I guess, but I don't.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't know. I mean, it's like everything else is kind of
Okay.
just mentioned and not really explained or anything. But it's there. It happens, And
It certainly does.
while we're on the subject of Pedro Pascal, let's talk about the
Yeah.
acting from just everyone in general.
from everyone in general. Well, Gal Gadot is at her prime game as usual.
she's at the height of her powers, which is still extremely low. She generally.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think she's very pretty and all, but as an actress, there's not much to her acting. There's not a lot of levels. There's not a lot of
There's not much to her as a
you know-
person, Like sometimes I think she came out with the I'm a war criminal stuff to make her seem interesting in some way.
Here you go, folks. Here's the controversial stuff we were talking
Here's
about.
the
there.
here's the
Owen
controversy.
trying to get you to talk and comment. Go on, lads.
Fucking
Go on.
Gal Gadot was in the IDF, right? It's criminal of this movie to have a character played by her go to the Middle East to save children from bombing, just randomly. They don't take any stance on anything. They're just like, yeah, all right, Wonder Woman's going to the Middle East now. She's going to save some kids. Fucking some really cheap effects looking kids in that scene where she's like catches them.
Yeah, the moment she
Falling.
catches them, there's just suddenly like fucking almost T-pose into
Oh,
position.
they're
Whoa!
so obviously just two little wooden dolls she's holding. Like,
Yeah.
I
Also,
don't know.
like, can we just be clear? Like, those kids are stupid and they probably deserve to be knocked down, because those cars were driving at full speed towards them 4 ages. The
Mhm.
amount of times we flicked between them,
Not even
and they were almost over the road at
yeah.
one stage.
Well, it's not even just that the cars were just driving for a long time; they were exploding. The cars were
And
blowing up.
shooting guns.
Wonder Woman
and
was
everything,
throwing them
yeah.
into the air and shooting bullets at people and stuff. And it's like, you
There are
didn't
these
see
kids
that?
that play in the middle of the road going, oh,
I'm oblivious to the nature of war because I live in the Middle East.
in such a peaceful area of the world, you know.
Oh God, I don't know. Yeah, but I
yeah.
think to
Anyway,
sum
Gal
up,
Gadot is not a great.
it up, Gal Gadot.
actress,
Yeah, she
really.
reads lines like
At least
she's
maybe it's because English is not her first language, and there is a little bit of a hesitancy, but a lot of it's one toned, at least for me.
it's very I don't know. I mean, even if there's plenty of very good actors who English is not their first language and they're still capable of displaying emotion when they speak it.
She is still. What age is she?
She's in her 30s, I presume. I don't know exactly.
Okay, so she probably doesn't have much of an excuse then. She's gotten into action 5-6 years ago, 7, 8, maybe.
I don't know. Whenever one of those Fast and Furious movies that came out was, it's probably like 10 years ago. I
Oh, she
know.
one of those.
That's what was her
Was she
first big role.
Well,
was a
that
character
explains a
in-
lot.
In one of, I feel like
That
it was.
explains a lot.
I feel like it was the fifth, maybe the
Yeah.
fifth and sixth Fast and Furious
Yeah.
movies. I think she was in. And then her character died in a plane explosion
Yeah.
or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, let's move on from Gal Gadot. You know our opinions now. Chris Pine. Chris Pine is his charming, lovely self, but it very much does feel like he was walking past the studio and someone was like, hey, Chris, can you come here? Just a few scenes. We'd love you to just be in here for a
come
few
on,
scenes.
just
And
jump
do a
in.
few things. Yeah. All right, woohoo!
Yeah, and I get why. Like, and even I've seen Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot herself have said this, that they loved the fact that in the first movie Diana was the like fish out of water who didn't understand anything about the world, and Steve Trevor was like explaining things to her. And in this movie the roles are reversed because Steve is back and it's the 80s and he doesn't know what a radio is, but he can still fly a jet.
He knows what radio is.
He's
didn't
just
know.
but he's not like he just comes in. He's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, this is unreal. These
Well,
clothes
he loves
are
everything as
Yeah,
well.
it's
Like,
these-
he's willing to experiment. He say, "Oh, let's wear a fanny pack. Fuck,
He's like,
look at these.
yeah.
This looks great. I love it.
these clothes are unreal, man. I fucking love the 80s. Isn't the 80s class?
I had 5 pots of coffee. Woo!
Yeah, it's very it's
Like,
it's
the guy loves it. He's in love at the time. He's probably before going to see Diana. He probably just spent the fucking day loving this decade,
yeah.
absorbing every
Yeah.
single thing.
because there's like one scene where, and it's for some reason it's them going up an escalator where Steve is
Yeah.
like, oh, an escalator, this is crazy. Oh, I'm scared, kind of, Diana. And Diana's like, it's okay, Steve, it's an escalator or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, 'cause she goes like, "Oh, this is an important one."
Yeah, it's like,
I don't know why I went with that accent,
but it's like, remember in whichever was it, the Winter Soldier or one of them, where our Civil War maybe, where Captain
Yeah.
America was given like, he had like a list of like important things he'd missed since World
Yeah.
War whichever one he was in, and
yeah.
he has all like the Beatles and like all these like really big things on it. Diana was like, Steve, you've been shot 70 years into the future, you're a man out of time, you have to see an escalator. It's imperative. It's like,
Yeah, but like, yeah,
Oh.
his character's very cool with the. He got with it very fast, to be honest.
yeah, he doesn't really struggle at all. He's fine, and
And he didn't take he shouldn't have taken terrible fashion advice from Diana. Like,
Nah.
he did look like a weird Indiana Jones person.
yeah, his that scarf was bitching. He looked good.
I don't know.
I don't know, whatever.
don't know.
Anyway, yeah. And so Kristen Wiig, of course, is Barbara Minerva
Yeah.
/ Cheetah, and
Yeah.
I think she's fine.
/ Kristen Wiig.
Like, she's fine in it. It's odd that like they cast somebody like Kristen Wiig, who's a comedic actress, and didn't really give her any comedy. She's just
Yeah.
like, it's like a
To be fair,
a poor attempt, like what I was saying earlier, at like Electro or something, where it's just like,
her character is a well-worn like thread of character. Like this, we've seen this character
yeah.
a million
yeah,
billion times.
especially in
It's the
superhero
nerd
movies.
that kind of suddenly gets some power and turns into an evil bastard. Like,
Yeah.
that's literally, we've seen it a million times,
Yeah, basically, she's a
I don't know
trope.
why they always go for that trope as well. It's just like, oh, this person who was bullied and wasn't super popular now turns into a villain the moment she gets some powers. Like, are you trying to say that all those kids before had the right instinct to bully her? Because, like, oh, we deep down knew this child was evil.
Yeah,
You
and it's
know?
like they mostly like when they do this trope, they always have like a moment where they like they snap and they become a villain. And
Yeah.
Barbara's is a guy tries to rape her, so she beats the shit out of him. And it's like,
I mean, just it's just a terrible thing she did. Like, she's truly
what?
evil, isn't she?
Like that's not evil. What are you guys talking about? That's not evil. And from then on, her motivation is
Like, fair
just,
play.
oh, Diana wants to take away these powers and confidence that I have, so I'm going to fight her. And they have a fight that takes place almost completely in blurred half light, so you can't really see what's going on. It lasts about 5 minutes and it's done. That's
Yeah.
it. She's just there because Maxwell Lord is not somebody that Diana can fight like fisticuff style. So they needed somebody
No.
else to fight her.
It's philosophy, like,
yeah, it's like a
yeah.
conflict of beliefs with them, which is a convoluted mess towards the end of the movie that I'm not going to talk about because it's just a whole other thing.
No, we won't go that.
No, we won't go that much into it. But yeah, Pedro Pascal then as Maxwell Lord is somebody that a lot of people I've seen have been saying that he steals the movie and he's really good in it or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people really liked his performance. I think it's okay. I liked him.
Do you think it's the Mandalorian hype?
Maybe I liked him initially when he's first introduced. He's like this like
Fumbling.
He's this kind of he's this like cheesy faux suave like everybody loves me. I'm famous. I'm a TV personality kind of guy, which was interesting to see him play. It was nice. It was kind of a departure from other things he's done. By the end of it, he's just he's like
My son.
it's not like again most of it is not really a problem with him. It's just the way it's written. It's back to the script is just it's just all over the place. It's just a mess. It's kind of like I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's very very
I
weird.
think there's a big part is like there's no one in this movie that I 100% disagree with, and I know people go say, "Well, that's a good thing. It makes you think more." It's like, but this is not what this movie should be trying to do. It should give us a villain, someone who is heinous, and I don't think Maxwell Lord is an evil guy. For example, I think he got drunk with power, sure, and it's because of his, but he's all those things because of his anxiety and fear of failure, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but we see what happened to him as a child, and you kind of go, all right, I can see this guy's kind of messed up. Like,
Yeah.
he's not the bad guy. There is no bad guy. And I know people argue, well, that's fine, but it's a superhero movie.
Yeah.
There should be a bad guy. Like, even like Barbara Minerva, like Cheetah, she's not bad. Again, it's down to her being scared and lack of control. I know that's what the movie tries to tell you at the end. Like, we all wanted different lives and all this kind of stuff, but this world is beautiful and it's truth, which is nice to say when you're a fucking demigod from an island of gorgeous, women. The truth, she's the most beautiful thing. It's like, all right, love, calm down.
Yeah, come on now.
Life is shit for some people. That's it.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. There's a lot more we could say. I think there really is. There's a lot of. Particular with the ending. There's a whole lot of shit we could go into. We won't go that far into like spoiling.
We won't tell you what happens in the after credits, but I like the after credits. That was nice.
The post credit scene
nice.
was nice. It's it was a nice little nod to things. I think, but honestly, by the point I arrived at it, I was so out. I didn't really care. But it was nice in retrospect. It was a nice little thing, and there is one. If anyone was wondering, there is a post credit.
Well, it's mid credit
scene. Yeah. And so that's, I guess, I don't know, if you had to summarize your opinion or your feelings on Wonder Woman 1984.
Okay, well, look, I'll be the first person to say, like I said at the beginning, I quite liked the first movie. I didn't think it was perfect, but I thought it was a really nice direction DC was moving. It was a fairly competent storyline. There were likable characters in it. There was a good bit of humor in it. Love it. Great. And I'm going to be honest, the sequel kind of bummed me out for that. Like, don't get me wrong, there's humor. There's plenty of jokes and humor in it. Like, I think it'd be wrong to say there wasn't.
Yeah, I mean they're not funny, but they're in.
But they're just, it's not funny. It's trying to be funny. It's not funny. This movie feels like, you know what this movie feels like? It feels like there was actually a second Wonder Woman movie set like in, let's say, the 2000 or something, and this is like a direct to television mid movie that didn't have the highest budget, and that's what we got. It's the worst thing about this movie. It's pretty inconsequential to everything. It doesn't really matter all that much.
Or it, yeah, it should be. I think they're gonna find it hard to explain it away, but
yeah,
at the same time, yeah, I think for me, the biggest issue really for me is that, and this is not, I'm not trying to disparage superhero movies as a genre. There's some really, really good ones.
because we love them.
But like 9 times out of 10, there's going to be stuff that happen in a superhero movie, in a comic book movie, that doesn't really make much sense, or isn't, like, you know, they'll just explain, it's science fiction. They'll just be like, oh, whatever the fuck, who cares?
Yeah.
And you, like, you're in it for the characters and for the heroic moments and things like that. So you don't really think about the little nitbits too much.
It's not science fiction. You know, it's not high drama.
No, it's
about the character.
yeah, it's that kind of stuff. It's like, but this movie had none of those things. So all I could do is sit here and think about the little tiny things that don't really make sense. Whereas at least if there was some really lovely Wonder Woman moments of her saving people and being a hero and doing things right and that kind of stuff, you just kind of overlook it. And a lot of people might, you know, a lot of people probably will.
To be fair, to say that we don't get character moments is not fair, but I think it's how they're framed. They don't matter too much. Like, again, I don't want to say because this one is later on, but she does make a choice that obviously is important to her, that hurts her, but she does it for the right reason, right? And like that's a character moment, but it didn't matter because, for me at least, Gal Gadot wasn't a great actress in the scene. It didn't really feel like she cared.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Let's not get into that. Like, obviously,
it's just more for me that, like, all of the moments, and it's going back to like that the movie for me doesn't really have a reason to exist. There's nothing that happens in this movie. There's no, like, by the end of it, it's like, oh yeah, Diana learned a lesson, but did she really? Like, why did she need to learn that lesson? Like, it's they portray her as somebody that she wasn't in the first movie, and unless she became that person in the intermittent 70 years, and if that's the case, it doesn't matter because we don't know about it. It's like, this doesn't change anything. She's still the exact same person she was if you haven't seen this movie.
We as viewers, I guess maybe just us, assume that Wonder Woman is a competent, strong person that, you know, can kind of look after herself and rebuild herself, and you know, you expect her to be not over these events, but she has walked her way through them, and she's now stronger than ever, and she faces the world as a more competent person. But no, it's 70 years of Wonder Woman being very sad.
Yeah, and that's sad.
That's kind of an insult to the character.
It's it's kind of, I don't know. So
let's remember, like, when that first scene in Batman vs Superman, where she jumps down and there she is with the shield and the music is ringing and like that was like, everyone who thought, oh, Wonder Woman won't be a great character for this, were instantly wrong. But here we see this strong, powerful woman, and I'm not saying dealing with emotional things is weak. It isn't. But I would have thought Wonder Woman got over it after 70 bloody damn years.
She probably should have. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, it's just, overall, I don't know. I'd probably give it like a 2 out of 5 or something, I guess, if we do ratings now. I'm doing one. Whatever.
To be honest,
like
I think I'd be with you. 2, maybe a 3.
Yeah, it's like it's not like, I'm not gonna. Like, here's the thing, it's not terrible. It's not like, there are worse DC movies and there are worse superhero movies.
Yeah,
but it's
don't dox Gal Gadot for this.
yeah, there are better things to hate Gal Gadot for than Wonder Woman 1984. And on that note, we're going to end it there. Ran slightly longer than we expected to, but I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to probably do some more of these little short, like just quick fire reviews in the future, I think. Hopefully when
structured, a bit of fun, that kind of thing.
Hopefully when 2021, when we're finally released from the clutches of COVID and there are actual movie releases and stuff that we can talk about again.
Oh, imagine if we actually went to a movie together and watched it. Imagine that.
Could you imagine? Wouldn't that be crazy?
Ah,
what a world.
Actually, it still feels, it's just quickly before we go, folks, it's like I watch TV shows sometimes and I see characters walking right next to each other and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, what are you doing? You know, because like, keep your 2 meter distance.
Yes, it's weird. Yeah, so as always, if there is any movie coming out that you would like to hear us review, do let us know. We have some things in the pipeline that we're working on, but it's always nice to hear from anybody at all, really. Just
please, folks, please comment.
Anybody.
It's like shouting to the void at the moment.
Just even just a little like, hey, that was cool, and we'll go, oh, thank you so much, we love you. Marry me, sorry.
Yeah, literally, if the first person to genuinely comment and say a few things about it, we're going to consider them our eternal super fan. Okay,
they will be praised. We will give you the top fan badge on Facebook.
Yeah, but seriously, we'll talk about you in the next podcast.
We will.
I swear.
We don't have much else to talk about when it comes to that sort of stuff. All right, thanks again to anyone who's listening, and we will see you back for a proper full episode coming soon, where we're doing, it's a shitty buddy cop movie, but we'll get there.
Oh, not cool.
Later, guys.
Bye bye.